Welcome to Truth and Company Boxing Podcast. Another segment of 20 random questions. I'm your host, John the Truth Dioria, and tonight's guest is professional MMA fighter slash professional boxer, DeAngelo Megatron Curtis. How you doing, DeAngelo?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a while, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
Well, look, first, before we get to the 20 questions, I'm sure the local Minnesota fans want to know. For one, if they don't know, you no longer live in Minnesota. You live down in Florida now, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so I guess the question is, why did you move to Florida? Not just because there's no snow, I'm sure.
The warm weather, it's something to be said about being able to walk outside, in the middle of December, January, and it's still 85 degrees outside. And I'm coming out in shorts, and I look back home at all the pictures, and you guys got 10 feet of snow outside with negative 30-degree wind chill.
So now, how long you been down in Florida?
2 years now. It was just 2 years here in June.
Okay, and how is the? I'm sure you had a network when you got down there. You had to get a new gym. Have you gotten signed by anybody since you've been down there, or what's going on?
Yeah, so I do for my home gym. I'm over at Futures MMA, which is in Fort Myers out here. But we do a lot of bouncing around. We go to there's a big time gym, Fusion, up in Orlando. So you got a lot of the big time UFC fighters up there. You got I believe Lorenzo Hunt is up there, who's in bare knuckle fighting right now. You got Lyoto Machida who pops in. You have Jacare Souza. There's a lot of big name fighters up there. Mike Perry. There's a lot of big name fighters up there.
Okay, so it sounds like this was definitely beneficial for you to move down to Florida so you could network and get better contacts and possibly better fights and work with bigger names.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so you ready to do these random 20 questions?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, question one. How did you get involved in the combat sports?
I got involved. I can remember I was watching the UFC fights with a couple of my buddies back home, and I was like, you know what, that looks like something I could do. I like to fight, and I don't want to work a 9 to 5 job the rest of my life. So I got into training, started at the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, and then it just went from there.
Okay, so now, like I announced in the beginning, you're also a boxer too. So you were an MMA fighter before you were a boxer, and then you decided to transition into boxing a little bit. Is that how that happened?
That's correct. I got into boxing from a good friend of mine's, Nate the Natural Richardson. We've trained together for many, many years, me and Nate. And I saw him get into boxing, and I was like, you know what? That's something I definitely need to do. I need to get my hands better for MMA. Um, got into it, went there, met Minnesota State champion and former IBF world champion Caleb Truex. Been training there with him. Beat me up millions of times, and just took off from there.
I guess if you're gonna get beat up, you might as well get it beat up by a world champion.
That's right.
Maybe it doesn't hurt as much. I don't know.
Not at all. I was like, you know what, that's my pride, but I put my pride to the side, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna get beat up by anybody, it might as well just be, a world champion at that. Learn from the best. So,
Okay.
there's no regrets in that department.
All right. Question two. What MMA fighters or boxers inspired you in your career so far?
Definitely Caleb Truex. Like I say, he's a role model. He's a role model in and out of the ring. I watched the way he carries himself, the way that he speaks. He's a super super down to earth dude. He's very very humble. If you actually get to know him on a personal level. Same thing with Mike Richmond. Um, I followed Mike since I got into MMA, and Mike's a fighter. So just watching these guys, come through the rankings and come through from the local level, to where these guys are now. It's very, very humbling and inspiring to see.
Okay. All right, question 3. Do you have any hobbies outside of MMA?
I do. um, Aside from spending time with my kids and coaching all my kids' sports, I love golfing. Especially now that I'm down here in Florida. I mean, I could go golfing every single day. In fact, I got a golf course literally 2 blocks behind my house right now. So I've been picking up golfing. I'm still horrible at it, but I'm picking it up.
Hopefully, you don't get into any MMA matches on the course with any of those guys.
I'm hoping not. Maybe an alligator. I'm still trying to find and tussle with an alligator. I know they're out there. I just can't find them, but I know they're there.
Oh, so you're actually searching the golf course for an alligator?
It's funny though. Yeah, because since I've been down here, people tell me all the time there's alligators out here. Just be careful. And like I said, I'm golfing back there, and I pay no attention to it because it never crossed my mind because it's something I didn't have to do. But I hit my ball down there by the water. I'm over there searching, not paying no attention, and I have a group of guys come by and say, "Hey, you better be careful and watch out for them alligators." It dawned on me like, damn, that's right. I'm really in Florida right now, and I really do got to watch out for these things down here. So yeah, I've been actively looking because I want to be able to say, you know what, I seen the alligator in the wild.
Yeah, you might get your wish, and it might be a situation that you don't want to be in.
This is true.
All right, question 4. Do you have a pre-fight meal that you always have to eat before you fight?
Always pasta, any type of pasta. I'm a huge advocate for pasta, especially after dropping all that weight. That pasta is going to give you that good energy. It's going to add that weight back on. So any type of pasta, that's my go-to meal.
Okay, question 5. What is something that your fans don't know about you?
Ooh, something that my fans don't know about me. Something that my fans don't know about me most likely would be that I have a 4-year, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
Wow, okay. I'd be willing to bet not too many of them up here in Minnesota knew you golfed either.
That's very, very true, too.
All right, question 6. What's the best advice you've ever gotten from another MMA fighter or boxer, and who was it?
It would probably be, it would probably be my old boxing coach, RIP, Coach Dave Simonson. He's always told me since he took me under his wing when I first came into boxing at the boxing gym. He said, go out there and fight. He goes, you're not a boxer, you're a fighter. Don't go out there and try to box because you're going to get outboxed. But if you go out there and fight, then you leave yourself an opportunity and a chance to win. And I've taken that advice and I ran with it.
That makes sense, though.
It's true. I know it to this day. I'm not a boxer, and I can admit I'm not a boxer, but I can fight.
Okay. Question 7. If you could have a cage match with any fighter in history, alive or dead, who would your ultimate fight be with in the cage?
A cage fight. I'll probably have to say Conor McGregor.
Okay.
I probably have to say Conor McGregor. Conor, he could fight. I can't deny that. I won't take nothing away from Conor. He's a hell of a fighter. But one thing I've always learned through boxing and MMA, and Nick Diaz said it the best. I'm not worried about what they're going to do to me. I'm worried about what I'm going to do to them. I'm not worried about how they're going to approach it because I know and I'm confident in my own abilities.
Okay. Question 8. What motivates you?
What motivates me, aside from my family, it would have to be success. Success motivates me. I'm a big time believer in the saying, strive for greatness. And I'm always striving for greatness, whether I'm in the ring, I'm in the cage, or I'm outside of it. In my everyday life, I'm always striving for greatness. I'm always striving to be better than who I was yesterday.
Okay. Question 9. If you could have a celebrity cage match with any actor or athlete, who would you choose as your opponent?
Ooh. I'll probably have to go with Denzel Washington. I love Denzel Washington. There's nothing that he can't do. That will honestly be an honor in order to go out there and just do something like that with him.
Okay. Let's see. Question 10. What's something that you are absolutely afraid of? Obviously, it's not alligators because you're looking for them.
It's funny. I'm deathly afraid of spiders. I'm definitely afraid of anything with more legs than I can count.
Wait
You
a
know,
minute.
spe-
You're searching for alligators, but you're afraid of spiders. Now, how much sense does that
gosh,
make?
I am, and since I moved down here to Florida, like I had, we had a some type of spider. It's called a spidey orb, or yeah, spidey orb spider. It looked like it had spikes and looked like the most poisonous spider in the world. I seen a whole bunch of them in my lanai out here by the pool, and I called up my neighbor like, dude, I got some type of red pokey spider here. They're all over, and I'm like, these things are poisonous. I don't want them in my house. What if they get in? And so I'm just freaking out. So he's like, oh, just calm down, calm down. Those are good spiders. They won't. They're absolutely harmless. I'm like, well, it doesn't look like they're harmless. You know what I mean? I called a bug guy up the same day. I had him come out the very next day and spray the whole outside of the lanai, the whole outside of the house to get rid of any of these spiders. I just don't do spiders.
Okay. Question 11. Do you think you would ever try bare knuckle boxing?
Ooh. I don't think so. I did my MMA coach down here in Florida. He's been searching for a fight for me. He goes, I could get you a bare knuckle fight. And I'm like, dude, I can't do no bare knuckle fighting. My wife don't even want me doing this as it is, let alone if I bring up bare knuckle. No, it ain't gonna happen.
All right, question 12. Are you artistic in any way with your hands other than MMA and boxing as far as like building things, painting, drawing, photography, writing, things like that?
I am. I come from a construction background. When I was back home in Minnesota there. Um, I did construction for 10 plus years, specializing in kitchen granite countertops, bathroom countertops, things like that. So anything home remodeling, I still do my own work to this day out here. So yes.
Okay. Question 13. So, the fact that you're an MMA fighter, what type of different styles do you train in for your career?
So you got to do the wrestling. I tell everybody, I wish I would have picked up wrestling back in high school. Um, but so I had to end up learning on the fly. I do the Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Um, I did a little bit of Kung Fu back home in Minnesota as well. So I try to learn and approach every single style to pick it up because you're gonna need them. You never know when you're gonna need them.
Okay. Question 14. Would you ever go skydiving?
Yes, I would. I just brought this up to my wife a few weeks ago, and she looked at me like I was crazy.
I think she already knows you're crazy. You're out trying to chase alligators.
This is true. So she knows what she married. So
All right, question 15. If you could have one superhero ability, what would it be?
ooh, one super, you know, it will probably be Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. He got the smarts, he got the money, um, and he could build anything with his bare hands. So I would definitely take that ability.
Okay. All right, question 16. If you go on a road trip by yourself just to kind of get away from life in general, where do you usually go?
You know, Back home when I was living in Minnesota, especially when I had fights up in like the Duluth area, I would go up to near the Iron Range. I think that's what you'll call it, the Iron Range or whatnot, and just sit there for give myself an hour or two, and just meditate, just think and pray and talk to God. So that was always my go-to spot.
Okay. Question 17. If you could have a conversation with one person in history, who would it be?
It will probably have to be Martin Luther King. Um, and I say that in a sense because, you know, back in the 60s and 50s when he was here doing this and enduring all of this, um, you know, he was never, at least he never showed it, you know what I mean, as far as angry and things like that, considering everything that was happening all around him. And I would just love to know how he kept his composure in enduring all that, because that's a lot for a person. It is. It really really is a lot for someone to take in and see and, like I say, experience for themselves. Um, so like I said, in that aspect, I would love to pick his brain to figure out, how did he get himself to that level? How did he get himself to, tune all that out and continue to doing what he was doing, trying to make things better? Because a normal person would have lost it all, but he didn't. He's a great man.
Okay. Question 18. Tell me your MMA Mount Rushmore.
Oh, my MMA Mount Rushmore. I would have to go with Georges St. Pierre. I have to go with the Russian Emperor, um, Fedor, and then I would probably have to add in um, Anderson Silva.
Okay, well, give me one more.
One more after Anderson Silva, I will probably add in BJ Penn, the Prodigy.
Okay. Question 19. What is your favorite boxing movie?
My favorite boxing movie. Oh man, probably gonna have to go with Rocky. I take any of the Rockies.
Okay. Question 20. This is your last question. Who is someone in your life that has inspired you outside of combat sports?
Someone in my life that's inspired me outside of combat sports. It would have to be my mama. Um, may she continue to rest in peace. But just everything that she's been through, everything that she's gone through, um, and raising all of us, by herself is very very inspiring, um, courageous, if you will. Um, because without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. She laid it all out. She drew the blueprint. She made it happen. So yeah, I got her to thank.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, man, I appreciate coming on the show, and hope the 20 questions weren't too bad. And if you got anything to give a shout out, any sponsors, fight coming up to the fans, go ahead.
I'm looking to find a fight right now. I'm hoping I can find one. I don't care if it's boxing, if it's MMA. I'll even go out and do kickboxing. So I'm just trying to find something. But I do want to give a shout out to, like I say, former champ Caleb Truex. That's my brother right there. We all know that his last fight didn't go his way. Um, but regardless, dude's a champion in and out of the ring. He's done so much for the sport of boxing, especially in Minnesota. Same thing, Mike Richmond. I got to give him a shout out too. He just had his last bare knuckle boxing fight last week. It didn't go his way. He ended up retiring. But Mike he's always been a fighter. He's one of the best, not just in Minnesota, but in all of combat sports. He's right up there. So shout out to both of them. Shout out to my team out here in Fort Myers out here, Futures MMA. Shout out to my team back home in McCoon's MMA and Likes Boxing Gym.
All right. And with that, the truth has spoken.